Okay, watch list for Friday. Let's start off talking about the SPY real quick. I'm no expert on trading the overall market in the SPY. I trade individual stocks because I like the way they move better, but I always keep an eye on the SPY as well. And look at today's candle right here. It's not really a candle. It just looks like a little plus sign, right? So very narrow range today, especially compared with the last few days. So if you were frustrated today, and I was a bit, I had a nice day still, but man, it was actually like almost physical labor today to make money. I mean, I really had to work at it. Nothing came easy today. But you can see narrow range and extremely low volume. Keep in mind, tomorrow's Friday, next week, Thanksgiving. So you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think each subsequent day will be lower and lower volume. Thursday, obviously, the market's closed. And then Friday, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe a half day. I'm not even sure. It might be a full day, but it's just any holiday week, volume just dies down, and it's already happening. Okay, this is the Thursday before Thanksgiving, and just the volume was just dead. So one, you can't use the size that you normally use, and you want to trade smaller, and you want to take profits more quickly too, because it's just really choppy out there. And it's, in my opinion, it's the lack of volume and related to the holiday. So keep that in mind if you're frustrated at all. But there was still plenty of stuff to trade. EROS is on watch again tomorrow. I called this one today. Well, I can show you real quick. Called this one today over, it looked like this. You had the early high, then a lower high. I liked it over 820. I think I said 821, 8 stop, something like that. And you can see what happened. And then it ended up just ripping. We called a few trades in it though. Here. The original stop held, so some people just made a killing in it. And then on this pullback, we had the high of day break again with yesterday's high. So there were several different entries, or if you were more patient and smarter than I am, you just took the one entry and held it all day. But that one, because it had such nice moves today, it's got to go back on watch tomorrow. Again, remember the whole volume thing. It's low volume out there. ANFI, I really like this daily chart. Big volume pop here, sideways action, and starting to leak up to the upside here. Now, a couple catalysts. 806 would be a break of today's high. And you look to the left, possible 829 could take you. The 200-day might be a problem at 857, but I like this over today's high, 806, because you got another catalyst just above at 829, and then it might just rip through the 200-day as well. So really clean setup there, and I like when these kind of setups with the push up and the sideways and then starting to leap. I like it when they start with a big volume day, and that's exactly what happened here. So bulls are starting to win the follow-up battle, right? You had the big move, follow-up battle, bulls are starting to win again. So write down in your notes if you like it, 806 and 829. Those are two potential catalysts. And we don't know how it's going to open tomorrow, but I like the setup. RACE, I had this on Bounce Watch today. Obviously, it bounced intraday. I saw a couple members celebrating their gains in it, which means they probably took it as it broke above this consolidation here in the afternoon, and now they're sitting on a bottoming tail. I did not trade this one today, but it just goes on long watch tomorrow. Sometimes when you get a bottoming tail like that, sorry guys, I got this cough I cannot get rid of. When you get a bottoming tail like that, it almost seems too obvious to be thinking, now it's going to go higher. A lot of times the next day, it's tough to trade. But I'll look for a continuation of that bounce, and that's in RACE. KSS, this is I'm going to give you the reason for this call. It had earnings back here, and then the retail stocks were getting slammed, and it pushed Kohl's right back down, and now it's up like 3 or 4 days in a row, but a nice narrow range today. And so over today's high, I think it might make a move back towards these recent highs from the earnings day. Okay, so I like it over 45.77. And another reason I like it is because Ross stores, pretty much the same kind of store. I think my wife likes them both, so I'm assuming they're pretty similar. ROST closed at 46.20, and then after hours is trading over 50 bucks. So they had earnings way up here. I know that Ross stores and TJ Maxx are very similar, and TJ Maxx had earnings the other day and popped up too. So all these kind of similar retailers become interesting to me. And maybe Kohl's is a sympathy to the gap up tomorrow in ROST. And along those same lines, BURL has earnings, I think, next week. Might be one to watch if those others pop. This isn't very pretty on the daily, but BURL, I guess it used to be called Burlington Coat Factory or something. It's nothing like that. It's more like these other stores, and I'm ashamed to say that I know that, but that's because I've had to follow my wife around these stores, and heck, they all look the same to me. But I'm kicking and screaming, fighting the whole way. I'm not one of those understanding husbands who's just happy to be with my wife. If we're shopping, I look like a little kid who's just pissed off. Not ashamed to admit it. I hate shopping. All right. Anyway, so that is KSS. SEDG already got a nice pop. I've been watching this one, and it got a nice pop today. So I'm just going to look for some follow through to that. Nice little volume expansion there too. AVXL. This one looks like it needs to come in another day or two, but you never know. Okay, so I just want to watch it. It's had some really nice moves lately. LGF. Okay, everyone in chat is going to be watching this and saying, "Why in the heck is he putting LGF on this on the video?" He hates LGF, and I do. I hate the way the thing trades. Sorry, but Hunger Games comes out tomorrow, and going into that, generally you'd see maybe a run-up going into that, and buy the rumor, sell the news. I think Hunger Games is going to be huge, and it sold off pretty hard into that. Okay, so you had a low from the other day at 36.07. You have the 200-day at 35.69. You have this recent low back here, 35.60. So I love this area right in here, like maybe a stop run to take out these stops, maybe even below this, but you got the 200-day and this September low right here. So what I'd love to see is it open and flush down to this area, and then we look for a reversal. I do think it might bounce tomorrow. I like it much more now than I did trying to trade it a couple days ago when there really wasn't a pattern. Right now you're back down to this really important area, and the movie comes out tomorrow. I'd be pretty scared to short down there because I expect big numbers out of that. Okay. Anyway, that's my thinking. TERP. No trade in it today, but just another red day. Worth watching for a bounce. But the problem is, hang on a second here. And I'm not smart enough to fully understand it, but SUNE, like TERP is like a division or subsidiary or something like that. So they definitely move in tandem. And we all know that SUNE is acting like it wants to go to zero. So you almost have to watch those two together. And I don't really like trading like that, but I still think this is a pretty good setup for a bounce play if we get the right setup, all right? And I think in the very same space, and I don't know if it's actually owned or related or a subsidiary or any of that with SUNE also, but in the very same space, you've got really, if these were 5-minute candles, I'd be looking for a bounce down here. So very much like TERP, I'm looking for a bounce in GLBL. And then lastly, I'm going to put Taser on watch. Now, this isn't that pretty because you had the gap. First of all, ugly stock, ugly chart. Gaps up, I think, on an upgrade. Nice volume. Ended up, and on that day, that would have been yesterday, for a while, super strong, right? I mean, look at the volume, look at that move. But by the end of the day, it had given most of it back. And so then today, down again. But kind of decent support between 1780 and 18. So sometimes what happens is you get the nice volume pop, and there's a lot of shorts in this name, and it's really beaten up, and this might have scared the shorts a little bit. Now you're lower again, but if it can maybe hold today's support area, right, and then have an upside break sometime in the afternoon or late morning, it might be worth it. But just to be clear, I'm not in love with this chart by any stretch. It's kind of a market right now that you want to start with a few charts to watch, but you also want to have your squawk services going and see if you can't catch a news play or something like that. We're all working together in the chat room, to spot stuff like that as well. That's it. And remember to cut your position size down, and trade more lightly. And you just, if you have a daily goal, loosen that up a little bit and accept smaller gains anytime you're around a holiday, because lower volume you got to cut your size down. In the last few days, I really haven't until I realized, oh my God, Thanksgiving's next week. I was thinking it was still a couple weeks away, so time gets away from you. But you can definitely see it in how the how stocks are trading. You can see the lower volume. So remember that, and I will just wrap it up there. And have a great night, and we'll talk to everybody tomorrow.